What up? What up? What up? It's your boy Shorty Parker back in the building again. I know it's been a minute, but I still got my damn opinion, you know what I'm talking about? So I'm back off schedule, you know what I'm saying? It's been a while, but I'm here. And I'm here tonight to talk about a little bit of college football. I want to give out my mid-season, somewhere half, a little bit past mid-season, but I want to give out my mid-season awards in college football about who I think maybe best coaches, worst coaching job, some of the best players, things like that. But before I get into my shouty awards, what I do want to say is this right here, man. You know, when you listen to people out there in the college football world, and we talking about college football, and I'm taking a shot at my partner. He probably looking, yeah, and I'm talking about you. Hey man, these folks telling you stats don't matter. Hey, some ain't right. Cause the stats ain't going your way. They still matter. The stats are a true indication of what you are currently doing. Then, then I don't want to hear also, I hear, oh, it's just week one. Oh, it's just week two. Listen, man, as a fan of college football and knowing football, you gotta see the signs. You don't put a speed bump in the neighborhood after the child get hit. You put them in there first. But with that being said, I got my homeboy just hopping in here with me, man. The best, coolest fan in the land. One of my other podcast homies, Cool Cal. What's happening, man?
What it do? What it do, man? Man, appreciate you having me on tonight. Sound like you got deep, man. You talking about speed bumps and kids and what's going on, man?
Man, it's college football season, man, and when things ain't going your way as a fan, sometimes you have a tendency to be somewhat biased. And I like to
For
not be
sure.
biased. That's one thing I like about our crew. We just tell it like it is. People be
For
out here
sure.
talking about stats don't matter and
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they proved that in that Texas game, didn't it? Stats do matter. When you sack the quarterback and you get pressure, things happen. So yeah, stats matter.
stats they be like stats don't matter or it's just the beginning of the season. Well, we halfway through the season.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I was just telling people out there watching the show. Shout out to Shelby, man, the first lady in the building.
First
Uh,
lady.
shout out to Lance B also. So yeah,
Man.
I was just telling people, man, man, you can't, as a true fan of football, man, you got to be able to take the ups and downs, man. Don't be out here telling
For
folks
sure.
stats don't matter, tricking folks, and they be eating it up, Cal. That's what kills me. They eat it up, man. Y'all stop doing that, man. All right.
Who you calling? Just random fans in general, or somebody in
No, I'll
particular?
speak. Well, my home, I know he watching the show. I'm speaking to him specifically. He's of a different fan base, and I'm
Okay,
always on this
okay.
show, so I haven't had a chance to really speak to him. So I figured I'd come on my show because I can say what I want to say.
Just your damn opinion.
There you go, there you go. So yeah, I'm just taking a
So,
jab at him, but yeah, to all my Oklahoma fans, it's gonna be all right, man. Y'all just hang in there, man. But you got to be able to take
oh,
the good with the bad. All right.
for sure, for sure, for sure, man. We got a good homie that went to Oklahoma. You know Gerald.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Gerald Williams. Yeah, so he went to Oklahoma, and I don't hear from him too much these days. So he got a little quiet.
Right.
So he got a little quiet after about halftime of that what was that, the Rose Bowl? We played them in a few
Yeah.
years back.
Hmm.
So he been quiet since then. So shout out to my
Well,
homie Gerald.
well, it's a good chance I may talk about them or you may talk about them at some point. So I don't want to get too much into them right now.
Mm.
But what I do want to do is kind of want to start off the show, man. Like I said, this is my what I call my mid-season shouted awards, and Shelby it has been trademarked.
Nice,
So I'm gonna give
nice.
out. So what I want to do, I'm gonna come to you, Cool Cal, and I want to throw my first. I want to give out my first shouted awards. I want you to give yours out first.
Okay.
My first question to you, if you can answer this off the top of your head, I don't know if you had time to, maybe look into some things or not.
I
But
did, man. Let me tell you
okay.
something. I come on your show prepared, brother.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate
Prepared.
it. I appreciate it. I expect nothing less. So the first shot awards, we're going to talk about coaching.
Hmm.
In your opinion, I want you to give out your Shawty Award. Who has done the best coaching job this year, in your opinion, and why? And who has done the worst coaching job, in your opinion, and why?
Okay, okay. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start off with the worst. It's I got one slot. It's one guy. Mike Norvell, Florida State, man. 1-7, a 5-point win over Cal is your only win of the year. You know what I'm saying? You just had an undefeated team last year. And let's not forget to mention this is Florida State. It's not Georgia State, it's not Alabama State, it's not South Carolina State. This is Florida State with rich tradition. So to be 1-7 at this point, and I'm not really seeing where they're going to get another win. Maybe they get another win too, but at the end of the day, you're still left with a 2-3 win type team. And right now, you're 1-7. That to me has got to be by far the worst coaching in America for this point, especially with all the kids that you got in the state of Florida. You have talent. They did lose a lot, but at the end of the day, you should never have a program that falls off that badly. And like I've been saying for almost a year now, I think that we snatched their soul. I know everybody's gonna say, well, the players didn't play. Well, when you go out there and you get beat 63-3 in a bowl game, that's an indictment to me on you as a coach. You didn't prepare your team, you didn't prepare the younger guys. And I think he's in a lot of trouble right now. He may get some time into next season. But if I'm Florida State, I'm really seriously looking at moving on.
So, in your opinion, Mike Norvell get the Shawty Award for the worst coaching job of the season so far, correct? At the mid-season point.
By far.
Let me ask you another question before you go into your Shawty Award for the best coaching job. Does that put him on the hot seat? It's only been one bad year, right?
No, I think it's been this has been what we would call, I don't know if we call it a bad year. We would call this an all-time bad year. I
Yeah.
think when he first came in, he was building. I think he first came in, he won like 4, 5, 6, whatever it was. I'd have to go back and look because before the season they had last year, I thought that he was potentially on the hot seat then until they had the season that they did last year. But I would say he was building, and obviously we looked at last year, that was awesome. But it's just been something that's been different since losing 63-3. It's just something that feels soulless about the program right now, and I don't know how they're gonna get that back.
Okay. All right. Well, I stick right there with you. No, I let you give out your award before I give out mine. So who gets your who get yeah. Because I don't want to I don't want to make it seem like I'm beating that dead horse too low.
Man, listen, I don't think that's a day. What else can you say? I mean, what else can you say? I thought about Brent Venable. Um, you know, I, man, what else can you say besides Mike Norvell, man? Come on, man. You got a 5-point win over Cal as your only win of the year.
Okay, I might
lose. It's easy. The first lady just said it. There's just no other answer.
I might lose some subscribers, but it seems like we might be on the same page. So give me your best coaching job of the year.
Okay. So this one to me was this was a lot harder. And I thought there was a lot of great candidates out there because whenever you still have some undefeated teams, Oregon, Penn State, etc., you have to consider those coaches. We know that those teams have great talent and they should be good, but it's still hard as we see in today's game to win every game, and they've done that so far. But aside from them, I got 3 guys, man. I'm gonna give you a top 3 list if I can, real quick,
Okay.
of my candidates. And my number 3 candidate is coming in, man. I'm going Coach Prime, man. I love what he's doing out there this year in Colorado. He's improved the program. Even after their first game this year, I just didn't see it. I thought it was a really shaky win over North Dakota State. It was a gutsy win, but they just seemed like they were going to be the same team as last year. And I think he's dispelled that. They're 6-2 right now. They're looking really good. Obviously, they've got if not the two best players in the country, the two of the three or four best players in the country. And so when you have that type of firepower, it keeps you in a lot of games. And so if Shador just has just a second to make something happen, they will. They're an explosive team. And so I'm gonna give Coach Prime some credit, because I think a lot of us have been really hard on him. And so I think he's done a great job so far this year. And
Okay.
then number two, I'm gonna go with Clark Lee at Vanderbilt.
Mm,
Anytime you beat Alabama, that's the first time in your school's history. Um, I, I think that's a massive job that you're doing. And obviously they're 5-3. They just played Texas tough, lost by 3 points. They beat Virginia Tech earlier in the year. They've got some really, really good wins. As of right now, they got a really bad loss. They lost to Georgia State earlier in the season. So, who knows? They're like right there from being, like a 7-1 team right now. And anytime that you're gonna potentially get Vanderbilt into a bowl game, you've done a fantastic job. They got great looking athletes now. Javi is that quarterback. He's looking really good. I don't know where he's come from. I don't know where Javi is from. He just came
mm.
out of nowhere and just
New
became a
New Mexico.
sensation.
New
He's from New
Mexico State.
Mexico.
New Mexico
Okay,
State.
got you. So he's been an awesome transfer, and so I like Clark Lee, man. He's my number two guy right now for Coach of the Year. This one was, man. I started looking around, and I've been really impressed, man. And I'm gonna go with I believe it's how you say his name is Kalani Sataki, coach at BYU. He's got
Not bad.
BYU 8-0 right now. They've got some really good wins. They whipped Kansas State this year 38-9. They won at Baylor, so they've got some really good wins on their schedule this year. And this is coming off of a 5-win team last year. So they're physical. I've seen them play some bits and pieces of some games this year. They're really physical on defense. They get after it. They've got a really efficient offense where they can throw and run the ball. So I think that he's been impressive. I look for them to continue to win and get into the playoffs this year.
Okay.
Kalani Sataki.
So he's definitely your number one.
He's my
Not,
he's my number one coach of the year right now.
I don't think that's a bad call at all. I actually like that. I actually like that. And I'm gonna ask you a question later on. I think some of these teams may come back up. So this was a hard one for me because I
Mhm.
could have flipped the coin. But my Shawty Award, y'all don't hate me, but I'm just being 100 with you. I know I might lose some subscribers, but my worst coaching job this year goes to Brent Venables.
Okay.
And the reason I
Not bad.
give him my Shawty Award for the worst coaching job of the years is because the expectations that were placed upon him, the tradition that school has, the
Mhm.
recruiting that he has been doing, the coaching staff with the best offensive line coach that he put together, the
Mhm.
best defense coming into the SEC that he put together with all the returning starters he had coming back on defense, best linebacker, the best secondaries, all this that Oklahoma had, and they were shitting on Texas, still holding down. They were shitting on Texas, right?
Right.
All this I don't heard about Oklahoma over the past 2 years. You come into the season, and at this point, mid-season, 8 games into the season, and you're not bowl eligible. If you're not bowl eligible right now, it's not looking good. And you got Ole Miss, Missouri, and I think Alabama or Texas. It's one of them. But you got you
Well, they
got
played
three.
Texas. Yeah, so
Okay,
they got that one out the way.
but they
Yeah.
got Mizzou, Ole Miss, and it's another top team. I think it might be I don't forget who it is. And they
Mhm.
got Maine. Oh, they might not win, but one more game. That would be
Mm.
5-7. So
Mm.
he get my worst coaching job of the year due to the fact of how this program has not really necessarily gotten any better. You had one good year and you have regressed. coming into this tougher conference. And you fired your OC 5, 6, 7 games into the year, and I don't know if that just makes you instantly better. I don't know.
Man.
I don't know.
Now, I'm sorry. It's worse than you think. They scheduled, so they actually just lost to Ole Miss. So they got that out of the way. They got Maine next, and then they finish with Missouri, Bama, and LSU.
Right. Again, that's what I was getting at. Still, they may only
yeah.
beat Maine. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So for Brent Venables to have this program in this place with all this high regard and all these resources, to me, that's just bad coaching. And it lets me know that he's not the guy, because the people that he have in place, he put in place himself.
True.
So that's why I feel like he has done definitely the worst coaching job of this year. He get my Shawty Award for worst coaching job of the year. Shout out to Brent Venables.
And I would like to say too, he was definitely my number 2 guy. Because another thing, they don't know what the hell they're doing at quarterback either.
Listen, don't get me on that. That was the whole. I totally forgot about that. You let a top 5 Heisman guy. How you let him lead your program?
I don't understand that. They said Jackson Arnold was the guy. He was this dual threat. He's number 1 guy.
You watch film for 9 months on him, and you pull him in the 5th game and go to a freshman, and you pull the freshman 2 guys. You're like, what are you doing, bro? You don't. And when you pull Jackson Arnold, and you let him sit for a quarter or 2, a couple of drives, or even maybe that game because he brought you a spark. But you let that kid start the next game, and that's what I mean by head coaching. That's what I mean by as a coach. I don't want to beat that hard. I got a lot of Oklahoma fans out there. They watch the show. I don't. But all I be trying to tell y'all is y'all be drinking that Kool-Aid, man. Folk, like I say, folk be telling y'all stats don't matter and all this stuff, and y'all be eating it up. Y'all better. Hey, I tried to tell you. But anyway, my best coaching Shawty Award, it goes to Spencer Daniel. It's the head coach at Boise State. I think he's doing a lot with less. He has this team. If they can win out, they can make the playoffs. And I think that'll be huge for a program like Boise State. And what impresses me about him is, he come into the game every week, and everybody know he's finna run the ball 35 times, and can't nobody stop him.
Nope.
He lost to the number 1 team in the nation right now, Oregon, I think only by 3 points.
Yep.
So I just think he's doing a lot, and I don't know how long Boise is gonna be able to keep him. I really don't. If he can continue this kind of success. But with that being said, Cal, why leave? You're a big fish in a small pond. If you can make the playoffs every year, yeah, there you go.
I mean, we ain't gotta say nothing more than that. It's all about that dollar. But that's a great choice.
It always talks, but Cal, security is a good thing too.
For sure. I agree with that. But it all depends on the person, like what's inside of them. Are they small town, I should say, because a lot of those jobs like that, I'm just throwing it out. He still may be able to make $5-6 million a year at Boise.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is, man, I was just listening to something about Jimbo. He just got $77 million. He's not even coaching anymore. To not coach. So when you look at stuff like that, you like, man, that's a different type of money. So if you're getting offered, those types of contracts, it's hard to stay in that place.
And I'm gonna say this too, Cal. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but I'm gonna tell you what, a man in Jimbo's position at that stage of his life, he'll rather be coaching than getting, that money, because he got money ain't the problem.
No, I definitely think you want to coach, but at the end of the day, if you got a buyout for $77 million and you're going to coach a top tier program,
right?
I think a lot of times you want to take those opportunities because he was already at a top tier program. I mean, he was at Florida State So he already had a great
But
job
but that's the
and
difference.
decided to leave.
He had leverage. He was able to get that kind of contract. The guy from Boise, you know, he may come in and demand, depending on where he go, he may come in and be able to get maybe 8 million a year, maybe
True,
7, 8 million a
true,
year, which
true.
is a
And
lot of
and,
money.
and,
Don't
and,
get me wrong.
and listen, and you're in that grinder, like you said, just like DeBoer is right now at Alabama. You know, they were 6-2, and you know they lose a game or two, and it's all of a sudden it's like he on the hot seat already. You know, he beat the number one team in the country this year. You know, and then 2 weeks later, it's like, man, let's get this guy the hell out of here. You
And
know what I'm
see,
saying?
and,
So
and not to get into the minutia of things, but to that point, Cal, like a guy like him, if I'm taking a job like Alabama, like my buyout clause got to be kind of significant
for sure,
because I
for
don't
sure,
want you, JB, to chump me out. Let me get most of this cash. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I
for
might not
sure,
be here for
for
two,
sure.
3 years. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So,
That's
so that's
the,
what.
you know, that's the whole point because he can always go back to a, you know, a Washington caliber school, you know,
Mhm.
schools like that. And you know what? Speaking of that, man, I just thought about, you know, shout out, I can't think of his name, unfortunately, but the Indiana coach, man, they're 8-0 this year. So shout out to them, man. They got some big time wins this year as well. But I don't know. When you're at those kinds of schools, man, it's nice to be that big fish in that small pond.
Right.
But don't you want to go down there and play with the big boys? You know, that's why you went to Georgia. That's why
Yeah.
you know you go coach in that conference. You want to play with the big boys.
Yeah, for sure. I just know every situation is different, but you know, it's all good. And one
Yeah.
thing too, who I guess since you gave out a few coaches, I'm gonna give you one more for my Shawty Award, and it's kind of piggybacking off your guy from BYU, Mike
Mhm.
Elko at Texas A&M.
Oh
He's done a
yeah,
hell of a
good
job
one,
at Texas A&M. He's come in
good
and
one.
stabilized a program. Speaking of Jimbo, he's come in and stabilized a program that we knew always had talent, but they just
Hmm.
always played undisciplined football. It was just like they didn't have the right
Hmm.
head man. And to this
Yep.
point, Elko seems like the right guy, even with all the talent that exited the program when Jimbo left. So
Right.
that just lets you know it was
Right.
never about talent with those people. It was just they didn't have the right head coach. And again, not to go back to Brent Venable, but that's what I'm talking about. When you got the right person in place,
For
certain
sure.
things just don't happen, and things get ran a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Oh
For
yeah.
sure. For
So those
sure.
are my
Yeah.
Shawty
Good
Awards.
call.
Those are my Shawty Awards for the best coaching job this year and worst coaching job this year. So my number one worst coaching job was Brent Venables. I think Cool Cal was Mike Norvell. My best coaching job was Spencer Daniel at Boise State, and I think Cal's was
Kalani
Prime.
Sitake, BYU. Yeah.
There you go. That's what's up. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Yep. 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 Good candidates, man. A lot of good ones out there so far this year.
Yeah, man, it's mid-season. And to your point, Cal, I mean, you are definitely right. It's a lot of good candidates, especially like who's done a great coaching job.
Hmm.
It's definitely a lot of good candidates out there right now at the midway point. That is anyway. Um,
Definitely.
so yeah, I'm gonna go on to the second topic. Trying to see how I want to do this because I think they're gonna overlap a little bit, and that's why I say some of those teams may come back up. But now,
Before, real quick, let
go
me
ahead.
ask you this before we get into it.
Go ahead.
Right now, the midway point, who's your Heisman guy?
Well, I was gonna get into that too. Okay,
All right, all right, all right, all
you
right.
you still in thunder, but I
Uh,
give it to you. I give it to you. Right now, well, you know what I don't because it's kind of tough right now at the midway point because the Heisman guy might not necessarily like my best player should be the Heisman guy, but it's other circumstances that go into it, and that's why I say I get
mhm.
into that. I get into that then.
Okay, okay, I got you. I got
So,
you. I ain't see it on the script, so I just threw it out there. You
oh, it's
know,
all good. It's
I
all
did
good.
it.
So the second award, Shawty Awards, are going to go to. We talked about the coaches. Now I want you to tell me about who you want to give your Shawty Award to the most overachieving team and underachieving team.
Ooh, the most overachieving
And
team
and if you need me to
and the
go
most.
first, I can go first.
Yeah, let's flip it up. Let's hear yours.
Fair enough. So My most underachieving team is the team who you said had the worst coach. It's Florida State. And
Okay.
based off most of the things that you said in the earlier segment, listen, man, you coming off a play. You basically was a playoff team last year. You was a top 5 team heading to the end of last year. You go to the bowl game. Granted, you got thumped 60 something or whatever it was. I get that. But your program don't just supposed to, not a program like Florida State. You don't fall off 1 year as a 12 win team and now you can't win 2 games. Like
Yep.
you have underachieved. You was a top 10 program coming into the season. So I don't need to beat the horse anymore. I mean, it's awful. It's terrible how the state of the program that Florida State is in right now. I don't understand how you go from winning 12 games with the resources that you have, with the branding that you have, the conference that you are in,
Mhm.
and you only have 1 win.
Mhm.
So Florida State to me is my most underachieving team so far at the midway point, and probably gonna be throughout the year because there's only 4 games left. I don't know. Even if you win them all, you win out, you still will win this award
Right.
based
Right.
off of what you did the previous year and what you had coming into the season. Like I said, no matter what, we still thought you were a top 10 team. Matter of fact, I didn't have you winning the ACC, but I had you playing Clemson for the ACC championship. I had Clemson winning it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That's a huge fall off.
yeah.
Huge fall off. Okay.
So my overachiever, the team that is, and to some it might not be, but I'm gonna roll with it at the midway point, and it's Colorado.
Mm.
I think the coaching job that Dion has done so far, especially with the way as unconventional as it has been, and I have been on the record giving him plenty HE double hockey stick, which spells hell. I've been giving him plenty hell on the record. So only
Yeah.
rightfully so for me to give him the credit when he's done. Not only he's done, like I said, he's done it in a very unconventional way. I don't think no pundits thought you could do what he's doing with the way he's doing it. We might have thought he could do it, but not with the way that he's doing it, meaning the transfer portal, basically heavy all transfer portal players. At this point in the midway season, how I gave Oklahoma hell, prime time is bowl eligible. 6-2 at the
Mhm.
midway point. A little bit over the midway point, but you get what I'm saying. He's
Yeah.
bowl eligible. And he has that program again on a trajectory going up. He won 4 games the first year, which was 300% better than the first year because they only won 1 game.
Great point.
And I thought to be on that continued trajectory up, he needed to be bowl eligible this year. Not only he's bowl eligible, he got a shot for playing for the conference title at the midway point. So shout out to Prime for in my point at this particular point right now, he's overachieving, being bowl eligible 8 games into the season with 4 games left. And if he can continue to win, matter of fact, if he do win, he will play for the conference championship. So that's what I mean by he's in contention for playing for the conference championship. So shout out to Prime Time and what he's done with the Colorado Buff program. Now, one thing I will say, which is not a knock, but I always tell people year 2 is generally the biggest jump in a coach's career. And that
Mhm.
has still and that is whole pack so far. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in year 3 and 4. But that was not the question, and that's not what we're talking about. So shout out to Prime in year 2, bowl eligible in 8 games. Yeah, shout out to Colorado. That's my overachieving team right now.
Man, those good ones. Those are good ones, man. Listen, man, the underachieve. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard for me to think of somebody else besides Florida State again. It's hard to get
Team
away from
and coach.
how team and head coach. It's just so hard to get away from just how bad they are at this point because we're talking about Florida State. Again, we're talking about, in the last probably we can go back 40 years. This is one of the standard, gold standard programs across the country. And so to be 1-7, it's just really hard to get away from them. Um, I get, if I'm gonna throw another one out there, this might not be a great one, um, but I'm gonna go North Carolina.
Mm,
I'm a little disappointed. I thought Mac Brown would have the program looking a little bit better at this particular point right now. I believe they are, I can't remember if they won 3 or 4 games, but they just haven't seemed to make that turning point like I thought that he would. Um, they
I think he
so
about on the
they're
way
actually
out.
are they're 4-4,
I think
four
he
and
about on
four
the
at this
way
point.
out.
He
If
on the
this
way
not,
out. He got a
yeah, I
little too
think
long.
next year might. Yeah, I think next year will probably be his last year, if not this one.
Okay, okay, okay. That makes sense. They just don't seem to have that pop, and like you said, that second year generally is that where you start to see that growth in the program. And so he's been there now, I believe,
Now
three,
Matt,
4 years.
yeah, Matt been this. Think Matt fourth year.
Fourth year, right? So even more so to the point is like nothing's turning for them. I thought this
They
would have been the
regressing.
year where I would have seen that growth in the program, and I just haven't seen it. But honestly, I mean, I would say Florida State. I mean, I really can't get away from those guys. They just look pathetic right now at this point.
Okay.
Um, so I'm with you on that. I would say the overachieving team right now. Man, honestly, it's a great list of some teams out there right now, man. Miami still undefeated. They look good. I wasn't necessarily sold on them. Pittsburgh still an undefeated team. We talked
That's a
about
good one.
Indiana.
Forgot about him. That's a damn good one.
Yeah, it's some good options out there right now. So if I had to, I guess, go with one, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with Indiana. One of the reasons
I'm
being is
surprised you didn't say Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. It's another good one. It's another good one. I just wanted to throw a little variety into the show. Kind of get it out the SEC a little bit because I know everybody's like, man, the SEC every time.
But to
So
your point, Ken, I'm gonna let you finish. But to your point,
yeah,
because the question is about overachieving, like Miami, I'm not saying they haven't necessarily overachieved. I thought they were gonna be damn good this year. But
okay,
I like Pittsburgh. I think because
okay,
I like Pittsburgh. Yeah, go ahead. I just think Pittsburgh.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
And I guess with Miami, I thought they would be okay. They're actually a lot better than I thought they would be, more so because of the coaching. So I'm gonna give shout out to Cristobal. He's done a good job this year. They've been resilient in their games. Cam Ward has been phenomenal. But I think I'm gonna stick with Indiana just because where the hell did Indiana come from? I didn't hear anybody talking about Indiana doing anything this year. They're 8-0. A really good team that I saw them play. I thought Illinois was a solid team this year, and they beat Illinois up. You know, I thought that was a really good win. They looked really good both sides of the ball, and it's interesting now with today's college football how I think what we're going to start to see is a lot of these teams like Indiana, the Pittsburghs. If you find a really good coach and you
Mm.
use that transfer portal the right way, build that culture, I think you can turn a program around pretty quickly now because you can go out and you can cherry pick some veteran leadership, some guys that come into the program. Maybe they followed you from somewhere, and you could really turn around a program pretty quickly at some of those places. So it'll just be interesting to see how long some of these coaches stay there. But I'm gonna go with Indiana as my overachieving team so far this year.
Okay, that's what's up. Hey, Ken. Now I will say it sound like you're starting to come over to my side.
Oh, what?
I get the same piece of the check like everybody else do. Why I can't win? That's another argument. I
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
that's another
yeah,
argument. But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, 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 yeah. The
you come
landscape is changing to make that. Yeah,
you coming around. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. You coming around. You
yeah.
unconsciously you coming around. Yeah, yeah. All right, all
Come on,
right, all
man.
right.
Sam Pittman doing a good job, man.
Listen, listen. He was actually on my list. You brought he was actually on my list of overachieving, not overachieving, but top coaching candidates because to his credit, matter of fact, let me talk about Sam Pittman just a little bit before I go to the next segment. Cause shout out to Sam Pittman, shout out to Coach out, man. It's all good, man. We understand you got a thing going on. Said somebody couldn't make it because water here expansion tank leaking. I don't know what.
You know, Coach I out there in the
Country or something,
you know.
water heater or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah, it's all good, Coach. Take care of your business, man. Make sure you, whatever it is, take care.
Take care of that, man. Hope everything go well.
Yeah, all that good stuff. But yeah, shout out to Sam Pittman because just like Dion, I give Sam Pittman a lot of hell. I didn't think, and I don't think Sam Pittman is the guy. It's hard for me to word it now because what I can say is about what Sam Pittman has done is that even if you're not an X and O type of guy, not a recruiting type of guy, you put those people around you in place to do those things. It's about one of the great things about being a leader is knowing how to delegate. So him bringing in a new OC, Bobby Petrino this year, and stabilizing the defense, Arkansas is a damn good team this year. So no matter what I think about him as a coach, I still don't think he's the right man. But at this point, he is making the right decision. And part of making the right decision is part of what make you a great head coach. So shout out to Sam Pittman and Arkansas. He was actually on my list for best coaches. And shout out to I can't think of my boy's podcast, Hog Wild podcast. I hope you see this Hog Wild because I give Arkansas a lot of hell. So shout out to Arkansas. All right. So Cal, with that being said, we're going to go into one more award, then we're going to go into the rankings, and we're going to slide out of here. The next shouted ranking go to, I need your best offensive player in college football, Shawty Award, and I need your best defensive player in college football for the Shawty Award.
Ooh, man. Could it be the same guy?
If that's who you give your award to, he'll come up there twice. I guess he might as well stay up there.
Man. Let me see. I'm gonna start offensively. I'm gonna go Ashton Jeanty.
Okay.
Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State. I'm gonna go with him, man. This dude, he's averaging about 8-9 yards a carry. I think he's already hit the 1,500-yard mark at Boise State. And I think you mentioned it earlier in the show. Boise State gonna line up. You know what they gonna do. You know what they gonna do. That's a good one. That's a great one. I have no problem with Cam Ward. That's a great one. I do have to definitely mention that. But I'm gonna go with Jeanty just because, like you said earlier, they line up. You know they're gonna hand them the ball. It's like they put 8-9 guys in the box to stop him. He breaks a lot of tackles. He's got speed. He's got power. When he plays against really high-level competition, like you mentioned earlier against Oregon, I think he went out there for like $175 on Oregon. So
everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody knows he's gonna get the ball. It's like, it's like when you just line up and you sitting there, he's coming, boom, 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 boom. And as long as he can get a man or two to miss that tackle, he's off and running. And more times than not, he's off and running. So he's definitely going to be able to eclipse, the 2,000-yard barrier this year. He's going to be able to catch Barry Sanders' rushing record for a single season. I don't know, but
you don't think he's going to slow down?
I think he's going to slow down. Like I said, I think he's going to get the 2,000. I think he's going to fit because we have more games to play now too as well. So. If he gets an opportunity, 13, 14 cracks at it, I think he could end up somewhere probably 22, 23, 2,400 yards, somewhere in that area if he's got that many games to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with him. Defensively, man, that's a good one. That's a good one. Man, I really like.
Nobody homegrown?
Homegrown?
I was just asking. I don't know.
gonna be honest with you, man. I hate that I can't remember his name, but the defensive end out of South Carolina, um, can't think of his
Number
name. He got
five.
two. Is it
Um,
number five?
coach, who you talking about? Coach on the line. Who you talking about, coach? Unless he don't drop down.
So I
Coach,
see he got the safety. He's got South
he got
Carolina
the sack.
safety.
He got the sack. He got the sack. He leading the SEC in sacks. I know who you talking about.
Um,
Kyle Kennard or Kennard. How you pronounce it? Kennard or Kennard?
Kyle Kennard. There we go. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Kyle Kennard. I've seen South Carolina. Every time I've seen South Carolina play this year, the guy wreaks havoc. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's getting after it. He plays the run well. He's physical at the point of attack. He rips through tackles. Multiple occasions where I've seen them play this year, and I'm like, man, that guy, that's a top 10 guy right there. That guy's come back. I believe this is his. He transferred in from somewhere, and whatever they've done with him this year, I think he's been an absolute animal.
Mm-hmm.
He's been the best defensive player that I've seen so far this year.
Okay. No quarrels with that. I'm gonna say this right here. For my Shawty Awards, the offensive guy who I'm going with, look here, coach. I like Cam Ward. And to
Me too.
answer Cal's question, that's who my Heisman guy is right now. Is Cam Ward. But my best offensive player guy who I gotta go with, is the guy who I think is the number one quarterback and who is the best quarterback in the game. Shedeur Sanders. And the only reason he's not going to probably win the Heisman is because they may not win enough games. That's what scares me. They are bowl eligible right now. They are six, but they may not win enough games. But with that being said, man, Shedeur Sanders is just the real deal, man. Does he have some things and some flaws? Yeah. Does he hold the ball too long
Hmm.
sometimes? Does he take some unnecessary hits sometimes? Yes, but these things that can be coached. But just
Hmm.
as a pure passer, reading defense, standing in the pocket, also taking hits and making throws, and just like every time he throw the ball, bro, I feel like it's gonna be a completion.
Yep.
And if it's not a completion, it's like I know it's gonna be close to being. It's like he throwing it there for a I have no doubt in that. Some quarterback when they throw the ball, I don't know what's gonna happen to the other screen pop up when it come back in view. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
But when he release it, I just automatically know it's going like it's gonna hit somebody's hand, it's gonna bounce off some shoulder pads or something. It's a reason why he's throwing the ball. So he's my offensive guy for sure. And I'm gonna tell you what, Cal, I ain't gonna even go to no other team. I'm just gonna stay in Colorado. My best defensive
Okay.
player is Travis Hunter.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
kid is just I mean, the stats. Look at the stat sheet on any side of the ball, man. I mean, he doing it.
No doubt.
I
No
think he's a
doubt.
more natural receiver than he is a cornerback. To be honest, I just think he's so athletically talented and gifted
Hmm.
that he can play corner. But I think he's probably more naturally a receiver. To be honest, um,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I think he definitely has some more flaws at the cornerback position than he do in the receiver position. But he's just such a hell of an athlete, man. The kid is going to definitely be playing on Sundays. He's going to probably be a top 15 pick for sure, maybe top 10. And I
I
just
think
think
I don't think he getting out the top three.
well, there you go.
I
I
think he
mean,
getting
you
in the
know,
top three.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there you go. I just don't know. The thing is, like, so where do you drafting him as though? That's going to be the thing, corner or receiver. He played more snaps at wide out than he do corner.
I agree. I agree. I would say I agree with everything that you just said. I draft him to be a receiver, and I'm giving them some packages on defense to do something, whether that's in some nickel packages, some dime, whatever it is. He's got to see something both sides of the ball. So something I've talked to a lot of guys about. He is very frail,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those snaps, they do start to add up. He has been hurt on every level of football. unfortunately. High school,
It
seen
is
them here in
football.
Georgia.
It is football.
Yeah, it is football, but at the same time, is some of that as a result of maybe doing too much, putting too much stress on yourself, putting too much. Look, we know he can do it. There's no question about it. I remember in high school, I'm just going back to high school, the kid one year had like 140 something catches and also 8 interceptions on defense. Like,
Uh,
I'm just saying, like, that's a lot of volume.
mhm.
That's a lot of volume. So that's just the catches, but you still out there on the field. You still got to run the other routes. You got to block. You got to do other things out there as well that is, what I'm saying, wearing you down physically. So I'm just saying that's something to look at, especially for a young guy. He's only about 170 pounds, so you got to consider that as well.
To your point though, if he's playing receiver, it won't matter because he can throw another 10-5, 10 pounds or so, be 185. It won't matter on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you got Zay Flowers who may be 170, but he 5'10.
Right.
You got Hollywood Brown, he might be 170, he's 5'9.
Right.
So I
Right.
mean, I don't think that'll be.
I'm speaking more so of playing both ways.
No, he's
Like I
not
know
gonna.
he,
He's
I
not
know
gonna.
he
He's
can
not
do
gonna.
one way. Yeah, I
He's
know he
not
can
gonna
do
do it
one
to you.
way.
He's not
Yeah,
gonna
if
do that
he
in the league.
right. Okay, so do you think he gets some snaps on both sides of the ball, or you just say,
Uh,
you know what, he's receiver and that's it?
Only way I see him getting snaps on both sides of the ball is if he's excelling on one side.
Okay. Okay.
Because if he's
Okay.
not, then it may be like, well, we might need to maybe get him some snaps on the other side, see what he can do on the other side of the ball, type thing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But like again, I just think he's either he's more of a receiver than corner. And one thing I would say about that, I think if I'm right, the receiver slotted money is more than the DB2. So he probably want to get drafted as a receiver.
For
Anyway.
sure. For
But
sure.
that could cause some contention though, right?
Possibly, but I think that's why you do your homework before the drafts, and the good franchises make good decisions.
Well, but when the business come in play, Cal, again, it's almost like, I can't remember the tight end guy. They want to sign him as a receiver because he got more snaps lined up wide than the tight end. I mean, they want to sign him as a tight
Right,
end,
right, right,
but he
right,
get more snaps lined out wide as a receiver because it's about
right,
bid, and now they're trying to save money. You see what I'm saying?
right, right,
So,
right,
it just, the business, stuff get thrown into the game when we talk about business because we talking about millions of dollars a year just based off of position.
right, right.
Uh,
True.
so yeah, but yeah, I think, my best and worst, not best, but my best two player offense and defense on the same team. I'm going with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Champ said he realized his pay wasn't increasing playing both, so he stopped. Exactly. And you ain't getting no more money.
But
That's it.
I think that the difference with Travis Hunter is that he takes such pride in it. Like I've heard him talk about like how he is, what I'm saying, just the best conditioned athlete, and he just takes pride in wanting to do something different as well. Is I think something that drives him.
I just don't think he's good. So, one thing I would say about Champ, to Coach's point, Champ was a DB who got
Right,
snaps at receiver. Champ was
right,
not a receiver. He was not going. He couldn't have made. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say he couldn't have made it. He was a hell of an athlete, but he was not
right.
going into the league as a receiver.
He wasn't the type of receiver that he was a
Right.
DB. Right,
No, not at all. Yeah,
right,
he was
right,
a
right.
DB. I think Travis Hunter is now people probably perceived him as a DB, but before Colorado, but now he making more noise on the offensive side of the ball. So I think he's probably seen more as a receiver now than any other time in his career. So I just think it's a little bit closer with him, especially when you're talking about his size. Champ was prototypical 6'1.5", 185 pounds coming out of college running, so he was a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger than Travis
For
also. So but I get your point. To your point, I get it, but that's a great point. Why play both when you ain't getting no more money either? That's a great point too.
Great point. Great point.
So let's go to the last thing, Kat. Did you get a chance to put your SEC teams in quadrants or fours? because
I got it.
I didn't want to do a SEC top 10 because there's so much parity in this league, man. And you know, one it's already subjective. And right now, the midway point of the season, I mean, you can almost put them in like some dice and roll them out there. You know what I'm saying? Other than
I
the
got
top.
it.
So what I want to
Right.
do, how I want to do this, I want to make it a little bit interesting. You have them in your
Mhm.
you have your quadrants, right?
I've got quadrants. I got names for each quadrant.
Okay.
I got a whole diagram for you.
So give me your in no particular order, unless you want to, because it can be a ranking in the same time if you want to. But give me
Okay.
your first quadrant top 4 teams in the SEC.
Okay. We're going good to bad. We're just going or bad to good.
Yeah, just top 4
Top.
because now if you want to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, that's on you. But just give me your tier A quadrant
Gotcha.
in the SEC.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna say is most of the quadrants I tried to follow the 4, but some of them may have 3 and then you know what I'm saying. So
Hold on, it's a
I'm
quadrant. Four
I'm just saying, I know
with
your
three of
quadrant,
them.
but I'm just saying, like some of them just didn't quite fit with straight 4 and all of them. I got
That's
what you're saying.
that why it's supposed to be hard. That's why I did. That's why I put one of them quads. Cause
I know it didn't make sense, but I got you. I got you. I got you. This is Cool Cal's special quadrant. But no,
clearly,
the first one I got is man, I do have actually exactly 4 teams. And this is what I could, these are my doggone good teams right here. So, of
okay,
course, I got UGA. This is no particular order. I got Tennessee, I got Texas, and I got Texas A&M.
okay, all right. So, okay. Do you want to give any reasons why anyone is in there, or someone was left out? Or are you cool with that?
I'm cool with that right now.
All
And I'm
right,
cool with that. I'm cool with that right now. Big reason is all of those teams right now have one loss.
okay, fair enough. So I'm gonna say this right here, just like my SEC rankings. Some of it is based off of wins and losses, but to me, it all boils down to the eye test. So this is my quadrant A, my number 1 top 4 teams in no particular order in the SEC. But I'm gonna say UGA first for sure. UGA, Texas A&M, Texas, and the teams that's not in your quadrant because I just still feel like on a neutral field, Alabama will beat anybody else than the 3 teams that I mentioned. So I got Alabama as my 4th team in that quadrant. Texas A&M, both Texas teams, Texas A&M, UGA, and Alabama as my top tier SEC teams. Now,
Okay.
what I want to do next, I want you to give me your last tier, the worst 4 teams in the SEC.
Well, really, it's really one worse team, but I guess I combined the last 2 categories I got. So the worst team by far is Mississippi State. I've got Oklahoma, I've got Auburn, and I've got Kentucky in that group.
Mm. Anything you want to argue or somebody was on the fringe, not on the fringe, anything before I go to my 4?
I mean, the only one I potentially could have swapped out in that group, or maybe if could have put Kentucky over Florida, maybe. Um, so that's probably about the only one, but that no,
Uh,
I wouldn't switch anything with that.
okay, because it's getting interesting if that's where you, okay, all right. Because Florida was not in your bottom tier, though, right? Right.
No,
They
they
was
was
not.
close, but not in the
Right,
bottom
right,
tier. Yeah,
right. I got you.
so
So, yeah,
Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Auburn, Kentucky.
okay. And what I'm going to say is we in the same boat. I got no particular order. My worst 4 teams, bottom tier teams in the SEC right now, the Midway Point Shawty Awards, Mississippi State, University of Kentucky, Auburn, and the University of Oklahoma. Those are the 4 worst teams in the SEC. Coach, if you're still on there, please put your quadrants up there. Tell me your worst 14, best 14, if you can keep up with us and follow us. Those are my worst. Now, Cal, this to me, the next two quadrants really got interesting. This is what I mean by you can just throw some dice and just. It's really not a lot of separation amongst these four teams. And some of these teams could overlap, and I'm probably quite sure they do. So what I want you to do now is give me your next to last quadrant.
Okay, the bottom. Okay, next to last. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm gonna go. It's actually a pretty tough one. So I'm gonna go Florida, Arkansas, South Carolina, Missouri.
Okay. Hold on. Let me. You said Missouri,
Florida, Arkansas, South Carolina, Missouri.
Okay. Man, well, we.
You know what I'm saying? We seeing the same thing. We watch football, man. You know what I'm saying? We know what we watching.
We close. It's just one team I have out of there, and I'm a. But damn, hold on. These are my bottom four. I got Missouri, Vandy, South Carolina, and Florida. That's the same four you got.
No, the only one I don't have, I don't have Vandy in that group.
Okay, so that's what it was. All right. So that was tough for me. And the only team that was swappable for it could have been either I could have swapped Vandy or Arkansas. I mean, that was, and the only reason I went with Vandy is because Vandy quarterback is a little banged up, and without that quarterback, they're not the same team, especially offensively. So that's kind of why I put Vandy in that slot, just because of the quarterback situation. But other than that, we're in the same boat. Pretty much locking step. We were locking step on the worst four teams, and pretty much locking step on the group right behind them. Mm-hmm. I think we had
pretty close.
Okay, so give me that second tier team. That second tier team in the SEC.
Okay, so obviously withstanding the injury, I've got Vandy, I've got LSU, I got Bama and Ole Miss.
Oh wow. Okay. I got LSU, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Ole Miss.
Okay.
No. Okay. Because it's just something with Tennessee, man. I like Tennessee. Damn, I'm tripping. I ought to take that back. Cause Alabama, they just lost to them head to head. Alabama just beat.
They lost to them. I know that's why it gets tricky, and that's why I put. I know you said Pavia with the injury, but that's why I put Vandy in the next group. So I got to give them some respect for how they beat Bama.
Yeah.
How hard and tough they played Texas. I got to give them some respect for that.
Yeah. So with that being said, I would swap Tennessee for Alabama,
Oklahoma, Kentucky. So I think we all got the same with that bottom four.
So his next tier is
next to bottom, South Carolina, Florida, Mizzou, Arkansas. So yeah, me and him got the same on that.
Mm-hmm.
Bama.
See, Tennessee, he got Bama in his second. So yeah. But he got Bama and Tennessee in his second tier.
So he got Ole Miss in the first tier.
See, I ain't got Ole Miss. They nah.
Me too. They got two losses already.
That part, and I love Jason Dart. It's just the defense, man. Just don't. It's just something about him. But yeah, it's pretty much still close though. I think I would swap out Bama for Tennessee. I would put I actually like LSU over Tennessee though. If anything, I would swap out Alabama and probably put LSU in my first tier.
So that's gonna be it. They play this weekend,
but they just lost too though. This weekend,
LSU just lost. Yeah,
so they got 2
They got 2 losses.
That's why I got.
So all the teams, like I said, saying like most of the teams I got in that second tier, they're kind of like they're 2 lost teams. Except for Vandy, they got 3 losses.
Well, see, a lot of mine be based off the eye test. Do you think? Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
Do you? Well, shit, they beat them. So, is there anybody in your second? Hold on. Is there anybody in your first and second tier that can be swappable for you?
I think that Bama and Tennessee. I know that Tennessee did beat them the first time. I think if they played again, if they played on a maybe a neutral field, I think Alabama would beat them. That's what. But I can't disrespect. You did go out there, you beat them, and I got to give you credit for that. You only have one loss this year. You're 7-1. But I do think that Tennessee is the weakest of that first four,
And,
definitely.
and I agree with everything you just said, like 100%. Like they beat them, you got to give them credit. Just I don't think they would beat Bama again, but to your point, they beat them head to head one time. So yeah, I agree. I
They
can't.
beat
Yeah,
'em.
I think I would swap Bama and Tennessee in my two tier. Cole said Ole Miss can be swapped for Tennessee, vice versa.
Yeah, I kind of see the same type team. I kind of see the same type team. I think I think Ole Miss because I hadn't been impressed with what I've seen with Nico this year at quarterback. The games that I've seen him play, he just hadn't looked that spectacular like I thought he was gonna look. It seems like as the competition's gotten a little higher, I haven't seen him raise his level. So
Hmm. Yeah, it's a so let me ask you this then, Cal. Let me before we get out of here, cause man, it's crazy how time flies. We all been on an hour.
right.
So let me ask you this last question before we get out of here, just to pick your brain a little bit.
Hmm.
Is there any one, two, or even three teams that just separate themselves from the conference, in your opinion?
No, not yet. Not yet. Just because again, I can say Georgia. But we lost to Bama. End of the day, we lost. We lost
Right.
that game. So do I feel like we're the best team? I do. I feel like we play Bama again. Even though maybe I'm crazy, I believe we'll beat them. I still feel like that. We have a better team. I feel like that we showed something in that second half coming back. But at the end of the day, they beat us. Same thing with Tennessee and Alabama. Tennessee beat them head up, but I believe Bama would beat them if they played again. A&M, I loved A&M. Weak at quarterback though. I like what
I
they're
don't think
doing
they'll beat
against
Bama head to
like
head.
A&M.
Yeah, I don't think they'll beat Bama head to head.
Um, yeah, I don't like Wegman. I don't like what they have at quarterback right now. I don't think he's good enough when it comes to top tier competition. And I think that that's ultimately what's going to hold them back. But again, Texas, they look strong. I mean, but we went out there, we put it on them. I mean, the game wasn't even as close as the 30-15 score.
Right,
That was a dominant victory.
right.
So I don't think anybody has separated themselves as of yet. It will be determined. Bama LSU play this week. I think obviously the loser of that game, their season is done because we could potentially have a two-loss team out the SEC make the playoffs, but we're not.
Oh,
I don't think we're gonna
you're
be.
gonna have a two loss
Yeah,
team that make it. Yeah, for
right.
sure. We're gonna
So
our
it's an
conference is
elimination game. Yeah,
our
for the
conference is gonna get at least three teams in, at least
right,
three.
right,
Yeah.
right,
So
right,
we could
right.
possibly have a 9-3 team, maybe possibly. I mean, I'm just saying, but we're gonna have three teams.
Yeah,
If
and that's
if
what
it's
and that's what I got in my notes. I've got us. We got three. I got three playoff teams coming from the SEC this year. Is what I got. So,
okay.
but yeah, as far as this, straight separation, we're not there yet. If we can continue to build off of what we did last week, Carson, we'll get into that another day. We could separate, but as of right now, I think we've got 5 to 6 really, really good teams, and that's fighting it out.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think this year in the SEC is definitely probably the most parity, obviously, because we don't have an undefeated team. Now we do have an undefeated conference team, but not a undefeated overall team. This is
Right.
definitely one of the, years where there's been the most parity because I mean you got teams like we just did our quadrants. Vanderbilt is not in the bottom four. You got teams like Arkansas, you know, South Carolina, even South Carolina. You know they still down there towards the bottom, but they are a very formidable team to play. So it's a lot of parity, and you can lose any given week. Like who would ever thought at the beginning of the year that Texas A&M would be number one in the conference at the midway point? They are number one in the conference. Right? You know what I'm saying? So,
they undefeated.
Yeah, so I mean, so it's crazy, man. But I do right now at this particular point think we are the best team in the conference, but it still just boils down to who gonna show up on that Saturday. I mean, it's 18. I'm looking at the top 8, man, and I'm gonna be honest with you. For sure, in the top 7, I think Arkansas might be my weakest in that top 8. But other than that, I can see any of those teams beating each other on any given Saturday on anybody.
Absolutely.
You know? But yeah, so yeah, man, this is my midway season edition of the Shawty Awards, man. I appreciate everybody in the comments for checking in, man. I appreciate everybody for giving me their little comments. I thank Cal for coming on, man. Before we get out of here, cool, Cal, is there anything you want to let the people know about? They can find you or anything you got going on, ventures, anything.
Not quite as of yet, but soon to come. We'll be doing some things, and I'll definitely let you know. But definitely want to say, man, appreciate you having me on. It was fun. You know, I love football. College football is my favorite overall. I could sit every Saturday and just watch it all day. So I appreciate being able to talk about it. You know, the Shawty Awards was great. You know, great minds think alike, but also think differently as well. So it was good to hear your opinions on some different stuff, man. It was a great show, man. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man, and the great thing I like about it too, man, it's always great to kind of expand your horizon sometimes, not just necessarily talk about UGA football. Get a chance to talk about all college football. To your point, I love the sport itself, so I watch Big 10, Big 12. I watch all the conference footballs, man. So yeah, it was great to talk about that, man, and it was good to hear your opinion too because one of the things you said about Pittsburgh, I think I'm gonna be able to use that on another show. I had literally forgot about them. That was a great call with the Pittsburgh call.
Sneaky good.
Yes. So with that being said, man, I tell y'all, man, it's just my damn opinion, man. Y'all know I'm so sporadic, man. You know, my show, like my opinions, man, they all over the place. I don't know when I'm gonna be on. So just make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, man, so you can get that notification when I do get on, and you'll know it, so you'll never miss me. With that being said, man, opinion like assholes, man. Everybody got one, and your boy got one too, man. And we up out of here, man. Until the next time when you can give just your damn opinion, man. We up out of here, man.